Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Nikolai. Today I'm here with Husker, the co-GM of the guild Limitless on Emerald Dream. How are you doing, Husker?
I'm doing all right, man. Thanks for having me. Glad to do this.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, first question I always like to ask is, how did you come up with the name Husker, or why did you choose that specifically?
I chose the name Husker because I'm a Midwest boy. I'm corn fed. I'm a big Nebraska
Yeah.
Cornhuskers fan. So Husker is driven from the fact that I'm a Huskers football fan, and I've ran with that name ever. This has been my name ever since Vanilla.
Okay. Are you one of those players who always uses it, maybe with like a special character, or are there any other like names or aliases that you go by?
No, I used to have different names back when I would take a long break and then come back to the game and come up with a different name. I was Skill Shocks on my Shaman for a while, but I went back to Husker because it was nostalgic for me. It's one of those deals that you go with what brought you, and that's the way I felt about my name. Is I just wanted to go back to my roots, and so the reason I have a uh, one of those symbol letters in my name right now is because somebody else took my name, and so I had to go with this one.
Oh man. I want to take a second and just kind of zoom in and check out your Transmog, man. It actually looks sick. Would you mind pressing Z and taking out those weapons for us?
Yes.
Are those your guild colors, or are those just colors that you decided on?
This is actually the guild tab. Yeah, this is the guild color. This is actually a transmog I had when I was in ISR.
Oh, really? And yeah, that brings me to my next point. So we met actually a long time ago. You were in ISR at one point in time. Well,
Yeah, and technically, as at the time of this interview, my shamans are still technically in the guild.
still there, man. So, but yeah, so I play on Horde, and we did meet in ISR a while ago, but things have changed. You are now on Alliance, repping it proudly. How did that change come about? Well, like, do you have friends that play on Alliance, or could you kind of explain that for us?
I have a lot of friends in this game on both sides, and a lot of my older friends who I've known for a decade plus in this game. In fact, one of my buddies is in the guild who I did the rank 14 grind back in vanilla on this very tune that you're next to, is in the guild with me. So a lot of these people I actually know from a previous server that I was on back when I first started playing this game. And I've actually caught up with several other people too. Like this community thing idea in World of Warcraft is phenomenal. That was a great idea because I have connected with a group of people whom I played with back in vanilla in a guild called Immune on Chromagus, and I've connected with them, and I plan on doing RBGs with them this season.
Okay, so you're pretty good at networking, I would say.
Yeah, and that as we spoke about before this interview, networking is one of the most important things you'll ever do, whether it be the real life, real world in college when you're trying to, land a career, land a job somewhere, getting to know people, or whether it's World of Warcraft where you can never know enough people in this game. Just don't burn any bridges because that's not a good thing.
I totally agree. Limitless is, I would definitely say, a famous guild on the server. What is the goal of Limitless? Is it PvE, PvP, or just to have fun?
To have fun primarily, but I'm going to say that the goal is to. I would like to see us achieve some things. I would like to see us have some fun in a heroic rating eventually. We're going to start out normal like everybody else, of course, but I would like to see us get up to heroic. I don't see us as a mythic rating guild. I would hope that some of us achieve, a reasonable rating in arenas and RBGs this next season. I'm not going to say we're the best by any means, but I think that we have a lot of players in the guild who, if they put their mind to it, we can make something good happen. And I think I guess people noticing us in World PvP, I'd like to see us really excel there too. We've already had a lot of fun. This bounty system that World of Warcraft has implemented has been great, and I expect nothing but more positive things to come from that moving forward when guilds not only get their players geared, but once they start to form those groups, and then we start to take each other on. Like we actually attacked the Horde Temple I can't think of the name of it, yesterday, and had a lot of fun with that for a minute. There was like 14 of us, so obviously we were going to be outnumbered, but we had fun just world PvPing, and that's what this server, I know it's for RP and such, but the world PvP community is great here too.
I totally agree. And you mentioned like bounties on players now, which brings me into, Battle for Azeroth is here. It's been out for, I'd say, roughly a week now. Are you enjoying the expansion? Or is this kind of, in your opinion, have there been other expansions that have been a little bit better for you personally?
Well, I don't think there's ever going to be an expansion that will be as good as what vanilla was for me. And I'm going to say I guess the thought process of all of those memories and the times with the people back in vanilla were great. I'm not going to say that, the leveling system and everything about it was great, because it definitely had its flaws. So vanilla is always going to have a special place for me, just because that's where it all began. But I think there is some ideas this expansion that are really going to help not only the world PvP community, but this server moving forward. And I think the bounty system is a great start, because I've already had the bounty a couple of times this expansion, and the amount of people who try to pursue you and kill you is great. I love the whole idea. One of the best ideas they've had, and I like the idea that you get a bonus when you have war mode on this expansion. I've always thought that, if you're going to play PvP and go out and kill people, I think there should be a benefit when you do quests and stuff, and I really like that idea too.
Yeah, I do like that idea as well. Brings that little extra excitement once you have it. You're like, oh my god, like, one guy shows up and then another one, and it's just exciting. And you mentioned vanilla. I played back in vanilla. I totally agree. I spent hours leveling up to 60. It was brutal, but definitely some fun times. So it sounds like you've been playing pretty much since the beginning. Would you say like 2004, 2005?
2000, and it was actually 2006 as my character just went AFK. 2006, early portion of that year, because that summer I actually ended up doing the rank 14 grind with some people. So I'd say, and I actually started out as an undead mage on the server Aonar or Eonar, however you say the server name, and which was a normal server, and that was before I found out the whole PvP thing, and then I discovered Chromacus because it was a new server at the time, and I was like, this is great. Why did I not figure this out before or discover this before? And then I go into it and began leveling a gnome rogue, which that's what this character would eventually, what was before when it started. Now I'm playing a human this expansion, but it started out as an ugly gnome rogue, a comb over, big red bushy thing, beard that I never anticipated actually leveling up. Like, I was just trying it out. I thought maybe the mage was going to be my thing. Nah, never have looked at mage ever again ever since level 60.
It started out as a gnome, you said. Did it go right to human, what you are now, or like did you change it to like troll?
Oh no,
or
it was a gnome all the way through vanilla, and it stayed that way through Burning Crusade. I think I leveled it up a couple of levels in Burning Crusade, but I never did anything with it. Burning Crusade was when I became a shaman. That's when I started to play a shaman quite often. In fact, shaman was my main from Burning Crusade all the way to now, minus Cataclysm, because I didn't play that expansion.
And like you said, that shaman is still in ISR now, and you said that you do like to go specifically Resto. You don't really try out like Ellie or enhancement at all?
No, I've never been a DPSer outside of this rogue, of course. The reason I started up as a shaman was because I wanted to heal. Like, I liked the idea. And back in Burning Crusade, I don't know if you had the chance to play it, but that's when Black Temple was a big deal. And I just loved the idea of just firing laser bananas all over the place, just healing people and topping meters. That was really fun to me. Probably the best, I guess you could say, experience as far as rating goes in this game for me. I enjoyed BWL and vanilla, but I'd say Black Temple is one of my favorite rating experiences. Otherwise, it's been all PvP in this game.
So just like you, I started out on a normal server. But I was kind of scared to do a PvP server. But eventually I made my way to Emerald Dream. How exactly did you get to Emerald Dream, and do you plan on staying here?
Yeah, for the foreseeable future, I don't see myself ever leaving. The community aspect of everything is great. And that's what I discovered after I found out that not only is this a great world PvP community, I know the RPers are going to hate me for saying that, but the world PvP community is great here. And the overall community itself, you have names on the RP side, you have names on the world PvP side, the rated PvP side. Everybody knows each other, especially if you've been out in the world and, PvP'd and actually come across them. That's the biggest thing about Emerald Dream that I enjoy is it has that Chromagus feel back when I was playing vanilla, where everybody knew everybody because you were all on the same server and you'd face each other in battlegrounds.
Yeah,
I get that same feeling here, minus the battlegrounds part. You run across each other out in the world, you recognize those characters, the names, and you're like, I want to kill that person. And that's the best part about this server. Is there's so many different personalities and guilds who just somehow manage those personalities that come together and clash. It's great. Everybody knows each other. There's some people that hate each other. I love all the emotions that go along with it.
What I thought was cool is I don't want to spill the beans or anything like that, but you had shared a story with me. As we mentioned, you were an ISR and you were on your character. Husker, and you happen to see Renosh out in the world, and instead of attacking him, you gave him a wave or a salute, and it just, you guys respected each other while you may not be on the same faction. Like, there's just, everybody does know everybody, and there was just kind of that mutual respect, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, for me it was, and I told Renosh this, that there was no other guild on the server that I wanted to join, and then I ended up making one. That was the only other opportunity of joining a guild that I was going to have, is making one, because ISR on the Horde side, it was going to be my home. In fact, if for whatever reason down the road it ever works out that I go back Horde, that would be one of the first guilds that I would go to. But yeah, I came across Renosh. I waved at him. I wasn't going to open up on him. Why would I out there in 1v1 open up on a guy who welcomed me into his home? You know what I mean? It's one of those situations for me. I'm not going to screw this guy over just because, I look at it as, I have a relationship with that guy, and hopefully if it ever came back to it, he'd welcome me back if the situation was ever right.
Yeah, it goes back to your, don't burn bridges, the whole networking thing. I really like that about you. That's really cool, man. And I remember the first time, an alliance ran past me and didn't kill me. It, blew my mind. I was like, dude, you're, at the time, you're level 100, I'm only 90. Why would you not just destroy me? And I really, really, really love that about this server. It's just, you don't always have to kill the guy. It's just, that's really cool to me.
Yeah, and if our guilds were to ever cross, then that's a different story. But it was just
Absolutely.
him and I out in that quest area. And as a rogue, most rogues, I think, if they saw the guild leader of Ironsworn Regiment, they would have said, "Oh my God, this is my opportunity to kill the guild leader, take a screenshot, and post it on Twitter."
Yeah.
I don't get into all that. I like to keep relationships on a good term, and that would have been a bad situation for me, and I don't want to do that, especially to somebody who, not only welcomed me to their guild, but he took care of me for the most part while I was in it.
Right on, man. And it sounds like you kind of had two different experiences. It sounds like in ISR, you were a member, whereas now, it seems like you have a little bit more responsibility. Is, having that extra responsibility, has it been fun for you? Has it, brought the game to a different level? Would you do it again?
As far as what do you mean?
Starting another guild or
starting another guild? Yeah. I think a lot of the people in this guild with me who I've met over the years, it's been a great thing. And, a couple of them asked me to come over to the Alliance side and play. I was hesitant at first because I was like, I've been Horde for a while. But, part of me was like, okay, this is going to be a good change. And so I went with it. And I've actually enjoyed it. I have not regretted the decision at all. And like I said, I've had a great time in not only keeping up, but catching up with some new friends that I didn't necessarily get to talk too much, but now I get to hang out with them.
Like you said, man, all networking, you met a whole new bunch of players now that you're on the Alliance side. And, I'm happy you're having fun over there, man. That's kind of the whole point of the game. Outside of this game, though, what some people may or may not know, depending on if they follow your Twitter, you do radio. Is that true?
I do radio. I am working on, 8 years? 9 years? I can't remember how many years it's been now.
Wow.
But yeah, that's what I do. I'm the guy that you hate during those commercials because I'm probably the guy in some of those commercials when it comes to radio production. And so, yeah, a lot of people don't like the commercials. They pay the bills for me, so I love them for that aspect. And plus, they're a lot of fun for me to do as well. I love voicing, producing, and then I also do 2 shows on music stations. One's a top 40, one's more as classic rock, and then I also program an ESPN affiliate here in Kentucky where I live, and we're Tennessee Titans affiliates, we're Cincinnati Reds affiliates, and I love sports. Sports is a big part of my life. I get to interview people. I have a lot of fun doing it. Plus, I get to call high school football games Friday nights now that we're in the football season.
That's awesome. Who is your favorite football team, or what is your favorite genre of music?
How I got into football from the get-go, we grew up, my family moved out west. I grew up out west in Nevada, and I got to see the San Francisco 49ers play week in and week out. So I was a huge Steve Young. I was a huge Jerry Rice fan. And then we moved back to the Midwest where I was born and, raised for a good chunk of my life. And I kind of migrated more from the pro side to college because in states like Iowa, Nebraska, the Dakotas, states like that, there is no pro teams. It's all about college and the atmospheres that come along with them. And so I got to see Nebraska highlights on television growing up back in the 90s when they were really dominant. And so that's how I really became a Nebraska fan. And that's going back to the beginning part of this interview, why my name is Husker, because I'm a huge Huskers fan, even though some people tell me my team's crap. Everybody has their own, personal preferences, but I enjoy my team. I enjoy and respect where I came from. And so I'm a big college fan. And in fact, Kentucky, where I live, is a huge basketball state. I think they want to see football grow, but it's a basketball state primarily. And so college, even big here, because there's really no pro teams in Kentucky either.
Okay, cool. Now, if we took a step outside of the World of Warcraft, like hypothetically, if you woke up tomorrow and World of Warcraft wasn't here, what other kind of games do you like to play?
It's for me, the gaming industry has gone in a direction that has been unfun for so many years outside of World of Warcraft. You have so many developers trying to create the same concept games. Like for a while it was zombie games, and then it became all about those games like what's it called? The game where you collect loot and then you basically battle royale games. That's what I'm looking for. It became that. And then like you have a bunch of games on Steam that are put up there because they need more money. And they're not even a completed project, and you're constantly waiting for updates and the game to actually feel like a finished product. So the gaming industry as a whole has not been like, I give it like a 1 star out of 5 in recent years because it's the games have been terrible. But I'm a racing enthusiast and I started playing Wreckfest before this expansion launched for World of Warcraft, and I love racing. I love dirt racing, asphalt race. Like I just love cars. Cars are great. I'm a dude. I like cars. And cars that go fast. So the game is primarily a dirt racing game, and that's I enjoy that, and I'm really good at racing games too, so that's why I kind of got into that. Otherwise, I played Overwatch for a little bit and
Yes. Yeah.
other games, but they just never sucked me in. Not like World of Warcraft sucked me in.
Yep. So I can agree with that, man. I mean, geez, I've been playing this game for like 10 plus years now. So, but last question for you, man. Since you do like cars, do you have a favorite kind of car or type or?
I don't have a favorite car per se. I mean, I have a favorite make. I'm a Chevy guy. I'm a bow tie guy.
Okay.
But as far as like a favorite car, not really. I just like a favorite brand. I'm a GM guy. I like the Chevy and bow tie. I've just always driven GM products, whether it be Chevy. I had a GMC pickup at one time. I currently drive a Silverado, so I'm a Chevy guy through and through. You'll never change me.
Hey, man, my first car was actually a Chevy Malibu LS. So I'm with you there, man. I'm with you. Now, let's say someone at home is watching and, they really want to join your guild. What is the best way to go about that? Should they contact you on Twitter or in-game?
Well, the thing about our guild is we are a tighter community. A lot of us know each other. And we said from the get-go, the guild master, who is Sharona, co-GM, who's Versla, and then myself, we all decided we don't want to blow this thing up. We don't want to be classified as a quote-unquote Zerg guild. And because we've all been a part of that, and we just wanted something that was a little more tight, a lot of friends that were together. And then, if they have some relatives or some friends that they want to invite to the guild, that's fine. So I don't see us growing much past where we are right now. We actually had to shut down recruitment recently because we blew up so fast from the start. After we made the guild a few weeks before the expansion launched, that we had to shut down recruitment. So you'll never see a big group of us out there. You'll never see probably more than 20 or 30 of us in a group ever. In fact, we have a hard time right now reaching 20 with the way some of our world PvP schedules go. That's probably because a lot of people are still gearing right now. But, 10 to 15 people is a reasonable group for us at this moment. And I don't ever see us getting past that because smaller scale world PvP for a lot of us is a lot more enjoyable than the lag fests that other guilds seem to get into.
That's understandable, man. It seems like your guild is going more towards like quality over quantity. And I can respect that. But if anything does change and, you guys do end up recruiting, just let me know and I'll throw that information down in the description of this video and, people can reach out to you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can. I'm at Radio Trevor Rice. I don't hide my name. In fact, the more people who know I am, the better off I am.
Right,
if that makes sense.
I will have that. I will have your Twitter handle down in the description for everybody watching. And I greatly appreciate your time, man. Thanks for chit-chatting with me.
I appreciate you having me, man. I really enjoy these interviews, and you're doing a great job. From one person who does a lot of interviews to another, you're doing a great job, and I think it's really helping the server.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you so much for the support, and for everybody watching at home, I'll see you next time.